The boy who refused to break. The beginning there was a boy named Ayaan, born in a forgotten village where dreams were smaller than survival. His father worked from dawn till midnight, yet food was never enough. Children around him played freely, but Ayaan's toys were stones and broken sticks. His school uniform was torn, his shoes had holes, and his notebooks were half-burnt pages. Teachers often ignored him, assuming he had no future. Neighbors whispered, "He will end up just like his father, tired, broken, invisible." Every word of doubt became a wound in his young heart. But even in poverty, Ayaan carried something rare, hope. He would look at the stars and whisper, "One day the world will know my name." His friends laughed at him, but he did not stop dreaming. Dreams were his secret weapon, his only escape from the cruel reality. He promised himself, "My story will not end in this village." Though the world pushed him down, his soul kept rising. Every morning he walked miles barefoot just to attend school. Every evening he studied under a streetlight when his house had no electricity. His hunger for knowledge was stronger than the hunger in his stomach, and slowly a spark was lit inside him, a spark that no failure could destroy. Ayaan was no ordinary boy. He was preparing for an extraordinary journey, and that journey had only just begun. The struggles life did not make it easy. His first exam was a failure. His second was even worse. Mockery became his background music. Laughter followed him everywhere. People said, "Why try? Success is not made for people like you." But Ayaan refused to listen. He worked in small shops, cleaned tables, carried heavy loads, just to earn money for books. His hands were blistered, but his mind was sharper every day. Nights passed in hunger, but he fed his soul with learning. He borrowed second-hand books nobody wanted. He memorized lessons while walking long roads. When his friends wasted time, he built his future brick by brick. Every tear he shed became fuel for his fire. Every insult became a stepping stone. But struggles never stopped coming. One day his father fell sick, and the burden of family fell on him. He worked double shifts, yet still studied late into the night. Exhaustion almost broke him, but his will kept him alive. People still laughed, but Ayaan's silence grew stronger. Silence that spoke louder than any voice. Struggles didn't weaken him. They forged him into steel. The breaking point, one stormy night, he lost his job. With no money, no food, and no hope, he sat under heavy rain. He shouted to the sky, "Why always me? Why this pain?" For a moment he wanted to give up. His body was shaking, his mind drowning in darkness. But then he remembered his mother's words. God never tests the weak. He tests the chosen ones. That memory lit a fire in him. He realized pain was not his enemy. It was his teacher. Tears turned into determination. Hunger turned into fuel. Loneliness turned into strength. He stood up that night, promising himself, "I will not end here." That was the night he broke his fear, not his spirit. The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm inside him. The breaking point became the turning point, and from that day Ayaan's rise had truly begun. The boy who almost gave up decided he would never quit again. Life could break his body, but never his soul, and that made all the difference. The rise with unstoppable focus, he worked harder than ever. He turned failures into lessons, insults into energy. Every rejection only sharpened his skills. He started small projects, built ideas into action. One by one, doors began to open. The boy who once begged for books now created opportunities. People who laughed at him began to notice his growth. His leadership inspired others. His vision pulled him out of the shadows. He rose above the doubts, above the poverty, above the failures. No shortcut, no luck, only sweat, sacrifice, and fire. The same streets that mocked him now echoed his name. The boy who had nothing now built something extraordinary. He became a role model for thousands. He proved that hard beginnings create powerful endings, and his rise was not just for himself. It was for every child who was told they couldn't. The rise of one became hope for many, and that rise was only the beginning of his true legacy. The transformation Ayaan was no longer just a boy with dreams. He had transformed into a man with a vision. His mind was sharp, his focus unshakable. He used pain as a teacher and failure as a guide. Where once he begged for books, now he built libraries. Where once he struggled for food, now he fed others. He understood that true change starts from within. He became disciplined, waking before sunrise every day. His mornings began with learning, his nights ended with planning. Every second of his life was dedicated to growth. He no longer chased success, he attracted it. People came to him for advice and guidance. He had become the leader he once searched for. His story was no longer about survival, it was about transformation. The world began to see him differently. He was not defined by his past, but by his choices. His transformation was proof that greatness is built step by step, and now nothing could stop him from moving forward. The boy was gone, the legend was being born. The recognition years later, Ayaan stood on a grand stage. The crowd was massive, thousands of faces watching him. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and his name echoed. He was awarded for his achievements, his contribution to society. But in that moment, his eyes searched for only one thing: his parents. They sat in the front row, tears rolling down their cheeks. The boy they once worried about was now an inspiration. Reporters asked, "What made you succeed after so many failures?" He smiled and said, "Because I refused to quit." His words hit harder than any award. Children in the crowd whispered, "One day I will be like him." Parents told their kids, "See, anything is possible." Recognition was sweet, but for Ayaan it was never the goal. It was just proof that pain and struggle were never wasted. He bowed to his parents, thanking them for their sacrifices. The applause grew louder, but his heart was humble. The world saw a hero, but he still saw a fighter. Recognition gave him honor, but humility gave him power. And that day his story became bigger than himself. The legacy Ayaan knew success wasn't his to keep. It was a gift to be shared with the world. He built schools where children could study freely. He opened centers where people learned skills to build futures. He created opportunities for the poor and forgotten. He believed legacy was not in money, but in lives touched. His actions inspired countless others to rise. He became proof that one life can change millions. His name was written not just in books, but in hearts. People said, "Ayaan gave us hope when we had none." His story spread across villages, cities, even countries. Every person who once mocked him now respected him. The boy who started with nothing gave everything back. His legacy was bigger than wealth. It was hope. He proved that success without service is empty. The true measure of greatness is how many lives you lift. And through his legacy, Ayaan would live forever. He had built something that time could never erase. The boy was gone, but the legend remained, and his legacy was eternal. The message standing before a new generation, Ayaan shared his truth. "Do not quit when life hits you hard," he said. Do not surrender when the world mocks you, because your failures are not your end. They are your beginning." He reminded them that every great story starts with pain. He told them success is not luck but discipline. Dreams are not free. They demand sacrifice. And every sacrifice builds a foundation for greatness. He spoke not as a hero but as a witness to the power of never giving up. He said, "Your pain today will be your power tomorrow. Your struggle now will become your strength later. Your failures are preparing you for something greater." The audience listened in silence, their hearts burning with hope. Ayaan's words became seeds planted in young souls, seeds that would grow into future leaders. His message was clear: never give up, never surrender. The world does not belong to the strongest, it belongs to the persistent. And with those words, he left a legacy of courage, a message that would echo for generations to come.